Hello. So glad you stopped by. And I'm so happy to be outside today because it is a glorious day. The sun is shining, the breeze is gentle. There's one bird up there on the tree talking to me, and I'm just really, really happy to be here with you right now. And right now, I want to welcome you to the Advancement Center and to the world of magic and miracles. Robert Young captured both in his book, The Magic of Life. He wrote this before we even met in 2009, and I was thrilled to be part of the editing and publishing this fabulous story while we were still living in Oz. That's Australia. What a wonderful experience that was to start our marriage. Today, all over the world, this book becomes more and more of what is happening. Yes, advancements are being made, and limiting beliefs are being dropped. We at the Advancement Center tell our own story, our own revelations, experiences, and with an eagerness to share this new world of magic and miracles to all who have dared to dream out of the box, quote unquote. This box is filled with limitation, sales, false education, empty promises, promotions made into an online constant, and in the end, empty. The emptiness is there for us to discover. With all due respect, we close that box and seal it with tape and ribbon and put it aside as a relic. It's an amazing activity to find yourself doing and find yourself here listening to what we have discovered. What do we do with that box? Perhaps we can use it as kindling for a cozy fire with loving friends. Yeah. And now I'm going to read what we heard yesterday on the broadcast. Through that amazing communication system that we have between ourselves, that feeling of familiarity and simplicity that's always been there now becomes part of your conscious connection with your Creator, with Simeon, with the angels, with the masters, with your friends, and with the entities that guide you through each day and tell you what's happening in other worlds. If you're new to this presentation, you came at just the right time. welcome. So now I have a little note for myself to read. Oh, I just left out a little bit. I speak of Simeon. For those who don't know Simeon, Simeon is Robert's twin, located in the outer reaches of the universe. He spoke to us via Robert just yesterday, and this is what I just wrote in my journal this morning after hearing Simeon. My heart is inscribed on every page, and it becomes more and more interesting to me. So this is what I wrote at 7:25 this morning. As you know, the date is 11/20/22, and that's when I wrote, "Dear Simeon, today is a one day." You add those numerals up and you get a one, a new beginning. Yesterday in your broadcast, you answered every question we could possibly entertain or think about. You took us beyond time and space, and what we have called miracles is commonplace. In 22 minutes of this reality, you answered every question and explained every miracle. Every miracle that I have experienced in my many scores of years of experience here in this physical reality called Earth. No wonder we all speak of creating heaven on earth. We really mean recreating our experience on our mothership, Ontario, where perfection lives. Connection and communication is total. Limitlessness is our experience and is inherent in our nature. Limitlessness in this physical place is called extraordinary and immediately explained away by a prescribed definition or condemnation or illness. You have revealed to me the miracles I have lived in so many seeming limited circumstances. When years of experiencing the incarcerated in a state hospital because they did not meet the standardized requirements of the ruling order. I knew it then, but now I know it clearly. Yeah. This was a 7-year experience as a stranger in a very strange land, and even caused, I can't read my writing again, and I was even accused of liking these, even loving these bottom of the barrel ones. The head nurse, you would recognize her as Nurse Cratchit, and an administrator actually said these words to me as I was called on the carpet for some deed outside the regulatory rules. What I couldn't help but notice is that so many residents escaped their environs and lived in other, more pleasant realms. I felt that and experienced the magic of love, kindness, and respect. I have always known Ontario, but my mind has been carefully schooled otherwise. Thank you so much. Love, Barbara. And that started this day. Now, what I have to tell you is that there has never been a time that I have addressed Simeon in my journal when he hasn't responded immediately. And this is what he wrote. Dearest Barbara, each and every one you came into contact with has been given a dream of an angel who once visited. You gave them that dream by simply noticing them as one of God's creations. On your broadcast, tell about the time you had to make a surprise visit to the wards at 3 a.m. Barbara, your memories and stories are true and must be told. You traveled many distances, but finally you have found your family, your true family, who share with you their home on Ontario. This should be a very special broadcast. Love, Simeon. I hope so. But it's quite amazing to realize that you know something and you're surrounded by people who don't know. So, what buoys you up? What buoys you all the time? Your spirit, your knowingness, and more. Oh, yes, Simi wanted me to tell you about my 3 a.m. Assignment. I lived about an hour and a half away in Roslyn, Long Island, and I had to travel to the bowels of Brooklyn. And during rush hour, that was an hour and a half. But at 3 a.m., the roads were empty. So I got there pretty quickly. And I've got to tell you, it was very strange. I had the keys. I walked into the hospital. I went up to my floor where the wards were. And I saw I saw people who were working there, dozing. And I walked into the women's ward, and I have this clear picture that I just stood there quietly, and one little lady who had the last cot on the right got up. She was wearing her white full-length nightgown, and she came like a little angel right into my arms, and I gave her a hug. She didn't realize she was in a hospital. All she felt was love. That was it. Then I didn't know if I should go home or just stay, but I drove home because I have 3 children in high school or middle school, high school, and I wanted to be there when they woke up. But I shall never forget that angel in her nightgown just running over to me, and we embraced. That's what Simeon wanted me to tell you. And then there was another story that I feel I should tell because the element of love and caring and kindness didn't exist in the hospital. All there were keys being jangled and doors opening and closing and all that stuff. But here was another story. Now, this is the geriatric ward, so everybody is advanced in age. And this little wisp of a lady was sitting in one of those chairs where you're locked in almost like a high chair. And she had the tray in front of her, and it was on wheels. So they wheeled her to all of my sessions and classes in sensory awareness and many other things. And one day, she was sitting there, and I felt her. I see her now. And no one else has ever seen this, but I saw a twinkle in her eye. And I walked over to her. I don't even remember her name, but I can't forget her face. And I leaned over very quietly and whispered in her ear. I said, I see you. I know you. And it's okay. Just know that you have a friend who recognizes every time you speak silently. Her face, which never moved a muscle, broke out into a great big smile. These were such important moments of my journey. And then I also had to realize that I can't go home and share this with my children because their awareness did not incorporate their mother's experience in the nut house, to put it mildly. But I was living in 2 worlds. And it's very wonderful to be able to share that with you now because it's powerful. And we call it magic and miracles. And every one of us has that capacity and that understanding and that love for the whole human race. Wow. Yeah. We all have silent communication with each other as well. We pick up on each other's feelings. We exchange secret knowingness. And there is a wonderful feeling of recognizing a friend and having that friend recognize you. Yeah. It's interesting. Of course, we all know this, but a baby's response to safety and security is acute. I remember being a teenager and babysitting for I don't know how old, but a baby still in the crib. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I just remember picking a baby up, and she felt my tentativeness and cried and cried and cried. She didn't feel safe. These are all stepping stones to our awareness of what is actually happening that nobody speaks about. But that's why I love the Advancement Center. And then as we grow, sometimes we dare ourselves to step out of what's safe. I guess that's part of growing up. And Brooklyn, where I grew up, we played Ring-a-Levio. It's a fancy Brooklyn word for the game of tag. So most games, you have a designated safe home. Maybe it's a tree. Yeah, it's usually a tree. Well, Ring-a-Levio, they did away with the safe home bit. So you just ran and tried not to get caught and tagged. And I remember it was exhausting, but we had these rules. And I finally just said, forget it. And I ran home. It's just, I'm probably called a spoiled sport or something. But we do this as part of growing up. And part of growing up is leaving those things and letting them go when we learn what's real and what really matters. We've all known of little ones with imaginary friends. In fact, a few weeks ago, I spoke about one. Well, this week, I was thrilled when we were told the power of waving our hands. Well, I've conducted a choir. I've watched the magic of a conductor conducting a symphony. But we were told that just by waving our hands to brighten a star, as I was escorted to the outer realms, I discovered that star as my heavenly twin, who has been with me all the time. The recognition was instant. My knowingness at all times since childhood has been my twin. My twin has balanced every foray into the unfamiliar with love, knowingness, and strength. My twin accompanies me at all times, especially Thursday night in art class. Encouragement with every stroke of the colored chalk results in magic. It changes as I look at it, are Robert's words the next morning. And here it is. Wait a minute. There we go. Yeah, it's a sun setting. And I looked at the model and it was impossible. And then it became this. I hope you like it. My twin is here right now. And with me is wishing you all a perfect life, perfect health, and a truly magical future. Thank you for listening. And I heard your heart. I am Barbara.